And we are recording. Well, first of all, thank you to everyone who is watching this first part of the Dark and Terrible campaign. I am Abraham from the Talking About Games channel, and we have C4Crispy. He's over there. He's going to be playing as Esben Lodger. C4Crispy, tell us about your character, please.
Esben's a sword fighter who really just wants to be a ladies' man. He's got long blonde hair. He's quite vain, carries a mirror around with him just to make sure that he presents well. Fairly skilled with a blade, but hates carrying things. Has a couple hirelings that he is constantly asking to hold things for him, including backpacks and other items. He would prefer to talk his way through, but when it comes down to it, if it's going to be violence, then the faster that it can be over, the better. So he'll try to talk his way out of violence before he draws his blade. But when he draws his blade, he means business.
That's perfect. Okay. So now, Josh, tell us about your character.
Yes, I'm playing Killian Foss. He's a psionic that prefers to stay out of battle, but at the same time uses wits and stealth to weave in and out and help his companions. He's rather thin and he's muscular, but a little clumsy, so he's not very good in a fight.
I kind of imagine him like a bit like a Jedi or Sith Lord, just a bit because of the cloak that he has.
Yes.
Okay, so we are going to start the campaign. Just to give further information on this for those that are watching, it's a very gritty setting. I think Dark Ages with a few minor like Renaissance details, early Renaissance. And we will start. This is the world of, I always forget the name of the world because it's a bit complex. Glynnefjorn. We are adventuring in the world of Glynnefjorn. So it begins. You walk through the mountainous area of Dimarsk. The weather has been horrible. It's been raining all the time. Luckily, there are a few trees here and there, and you have managed to take shelter under those trees. You two and your hirelings. And why did you undergo this horrible journey? A few days ago, you were eating a loaf of bread on the street when you were approached by old man Chandris. Chandris got close to you, he put his hands on each of your shoulders, and he said his customary salute or greeting, "What do you do?" And then you started to talk, small talk, and he mentioned that deep within the Dimarsk mountain range, there is a hidden valley. You can recognize the entrance to this hidden valley because there are two hills, each one the size of a two-story building. There is a path between those two hills. Normally, you wouldn't pay too much attention to old man Chandris because he has some eccentricities. He's constantly hunting vultures and eating them for some reason. But after communicating this information, he went on his way, just sharing a few bits of interesting details for young lads like yourselves. You normally wouldn't pay attention, as I mentioned, to this information, but in the northeast part, just outside of your city, Jarlsberg, there is a strange sight. There is this stone base conformed of 3 squares, each square smaller than the one below it. And the base is covered with strange symbols and sigils. No one has been able to decipher these symbols. So perhaps there is some truth to this rumor of ruins. According to Chandris, there are some ruins in the Dimarsk Mountains. Let's see if that is real, but you have now arrived at the location. You are before 2 hills, each one the size of a 2-story house or building. And between those hills, therein lies a path, not too narrow, not too big. Perhaps you could fit 2 horses through that path. And the path seems to be inviting you in.
I don't know, Killian. This better be worth it. I'm wet. I'm tired. I got 1 florin to my name. This is it. If that old, if that old eccentric Chandries was pulling our leg, we're gonna have words with him. Because here we are, wet and cold. I don't know. I mean, you're the sage. What do you say? We came this far.
I lean in close to Esben. Just between the two of us, I don't even know if I'll have enough to pay Luca and Sven after this.
Shh. Don't say that too loud. I've got one florin left. I'm telling you. They think I'm joking. I don't want to carry that backpack. It looks heavy. I'll stand up, kind of brush the rain off my soaked clothes, motion to my two hirelings. Nico, Mattias, let's get going. The sooner we get into this valley, the sooner we can go home, and maybe there's a nice festival, so I can't wait. Adventure waits. With that, Espen bravely motions for Nico to take point on the trail. I'm right behind you.
You continue to move forward. The moment you go through the path, the fog around you seems to solidify. It could be your imagination, but it could be actually moving. Now that you have crossed the path, you see that old man Chandris was actually speaking the truth. Your hirelings gasp, amazed, as they see this mysterious panorama in front of you, about 50 feet ahead of you. There seems to be like the remains of a plaza. Scattered around that plaza, there are broken structures. Not a single building is intact. The walls are shattered, destroyed. And at the distance, there seems to be half of a tower standing far in the northwest beyond the plaza. But what's this? As the fog moves, you see 3 stone statues of ancient warriors standing in the middle of the plaza.
Espen lets out a low whistle. Whew. I guess I should eat more vultures if this is the kind of thing that we can find. Those 3 statues, those look impressive. As a martial character himself, Espen motions for Nico to step forward towards the closest of the stone statues, calls over his shoulder. Well, looks like we found the place, Killian. Congrats. I was wrong. You were right.
We'll see what it holds for us, but first, Sven, Luca, say a prayer. I begin to move forward towards the stone statues as they begin to chant.
As you start to approach the statues, you suddenly feel the ground below you shaking just a bit for a moment.
I immediately start to walk backwards, gasping.
My hand in drops to the hilt of my sword. I caution Nico and Mattias. Do you guys feel that?
Your hirelings agree.
Be on the watch. Something might be moving around here. Keep your head on a swivel.
As soon as you stop moving, there is no longer movement. The ground is stable.
Killian, you're more aware of the unseen world than I am. Do you feel anything? What are we dealing with here?
I take a moment to look around, trying to pay attention to any differentiations in the air. Slowly move forward to any of the broken pieces that may shield me from any type of sight.
You cannot sense anything.
Seeing Killian move behind, getting cover, Espen moves up behind his hireling Nico towards the closest of the stone statues, paying close attention to what's in the statue's hands, looking for something that I might be able to place in my martial training, perhaps this is a master of some sort or a guardian.
The moment you do that, the statues come alive. They start to move. Their hands surely can hold something because they are opening and closing their hands, ready to crush something, and violently so. These statues dressed in ancient armor, it is all decoration, it is all in stone. They charge at you immediately.
I cry out an alarm, drawing my sword reflexively. I call to Nico. Try to trip it up, Nico. I'll get behind. And then Matthias as well, just cover me from the others as we try to focus in on the lead one closest to us.
I try to peer across and see exactly how close these statues are in proximity to one another and between Esben before they reach him.
The statues immediately reach Esben. But luckily, his strategy paid off. Nico, the statue basically tripped on Nico. Nico took 1 point of damage. And the other two statues, they also trip on the fallen statue and they fall into pieces, they smash each other and they end up wrecked on the floor. But suddenly,
by Odin,
they rearm themselves. All the broken pieces, they come back together. This ancient crumbling stone seems to be held together by some sort of invisible force. And they once again charge at you.
As soon as I see them reassemble, I quickly reach into my side and throw a flask of oil into the center of them and yell out at Luca and Sven, "Prayer will not be enough, brothers. Engage."
Seeing the statue gather itself together, Espen takes a cautious step back, calls out to Matthias, "See if you could grab a leg piece." And then we all draw back, retreating back to see that these things seem to reassemble themselves. But maybe if we can grab a part, grab what you can, joints especially.
The statues seem to be affected by the oil in some way. Suddenly they start moving very clumsily and they fall into pieces once more and they start to disassemble. As you take one of the pieces, it is impossible for you to hold it. It is a force so great. And they once again reassemble.
Well, I don't know. We could just stay here all day with these things reassembling themselves. Perhaps we should move beyond. Quickly, I'll call to Killian. Quick, before they can get back into it. Let's get past them.
I rapidly begin to sweep to and fro in between the small broken pillars, cautious to see if anything else rises as I move forward.
You start to sense something. There is something beckoning you towards the tower in the northwest. The statues seem to be still disrupted by this oil, but they are soon moving faster as before. They are releasing themselves from that sort of lethargy in which they fell.
Esben, light them, friend.
Matthias, bring me that backpack. I search into bring up my tinderbox, and with hands that are only slightly greasy from trying to pick up pieces of the oil-covered statue, I try to strike a spark to light the stone golems or stone statues on fire.
It works. They are on fire and they are confused. You could almost hear them screaming if they were not just statues, but they seem to be in jerky movements, taking some sort of pain or damage from the fire, but they are still almost intact. And Killian keeps hearing this, sensing this beckoning, this call towards the northwest tower. It's obvious that the statues will not follow for a moment because they are dealing with their current condition.
Sven, Luca, Espen, everyone to the tower.
You heard him.
Begin
Let's
sprinting.
run. Espen takes off at a very fast run because he doesn't carry his equipment. And his poor henchman, Matthias, is sweating under the load as he tries to keep up.
You reach the tower. Inside, it is empty except for a broken stone table, and there is a passageway leading deep into the earth. There is a spiral staircase. The stone steps are leading downwards, and this staircase is somewhat narrow. A single person at a time could fit through this staircase.
When they said ruins, you didn't tell me, Killian, that this was going to be underground. Oh. He runs his hands through his long hair, just a little too fancy to be covered in cobwebs. All right. Nico?
I pull my hood back, wipe off some sweat. I have a great unease, Esben. I feel drawn to this place. Never before have I experienced this.
Have you seen pictures of this before? Is this something that your mind has explored?
I begin looking around the room, all around where the spiral staircase begins to go down for any types of markings or anything that directs me.
You notice nothing special except that there are some sort of hinges. This passageway was obviously a secret passageway before, but whatever cover or door was on top of it has been removed long ago.
I begin to push Esben. Friend, come look. I kneel down closely, trying to observe. Look at this. It was sealed at one point. Did something break free? Or did someone break in, I wonder?
You are interrupted by the sound of heavy footsteps. The statues are obviously moving towards you.
We're going to find out one way or the other. Quick, let's get down there. I motion Nico to come over so I can grab a torch. And using my tinderbox still in hand, I'll light the torch. Let's be fast about it. There's only an hour on this torch.
Agreed. I'll stand aside, knowing my place, waiting for them to lead.
I hand the torch back to Nico, pat him on the shoulder. I'm right behind you. And then I let Matthias go after Nico, and then I go after him.
I shall follow Esben and then have the two clerics come in behind.
You start your descent. You can hear the statues coming after you, but they are stuck. They are too large and they are too clumsy. They cannot go down. But you still keep on descending. Thanks to your torch, you are able to move down the stone steps without tripping. The descent is long. You don't know exactly how much time has passed, but you are easily perhaps more than 100 feet below ground, and yet the air feels so fresh. It's almost as if you are outside for some strange reason. But you still detect or sense this sort of smell of slight decay and dust. Eventually, the staircase lands in what appears to be, according to your estimation, because the descent in circles has disoriented you, but it seems you are in the northwest corner of a grand room. This room is huge. The ceiling is about 80 feet above. It is 50 feet wide and 30 feet in depth. The room is covered in these bricks of grayish blue tone, and it is also covered in spider webs. The entire room is covered in huge spider webs. And just behind a few of the spider webs, you can see some sort of color. There is obviously some sort of illustration or image on the walls, perhaps in the ceiling. It is impossible to tell, but the spider webs makes it almost impossible to get the full picture.
Ooh, I hate spiders. I motioned to Nico to use his... Nico, take your torch over there. That looks like there's something behind those webs. Matthias, keep an eye out. Might have some bugs down here.
As Nico moves around the room, thanks to the light of the torch, you can see that there is some sort of corridor exiting on the southernmost wall. At the center of the southernmost wall, there is a corridor leading somewhere else. As the torch is is brought closer to the spider webs, they burn a bit, but you can still notice that you need to remove these spider webs to get a better idea of the illustration or image.
I put my hand on Nico's shoulder, ask him just move aside, but keep that torch steady. I want to see what's behind here. Drawing my sword, I use the tip of the sword to try to remove part the curtain of webs and see behind what was obscured.
The image is quite abstract, but as you remove the spider webs, it is pretty clear that it displays images of orgies, human sacrifice, debauchery, all sorts of profane activities. There is a strange creature always in the background, a sort of slug-like creature with the head of an old man. You can also see strange objects. There is a bowl or basin containing some sort of red liquid, and besides it, there is a dagger. You can also see an incense burner and 3 small guns. These plates are next to a hammer. Killian seems to be sensing something from them.
I cautiously move forward. I feel my hands trembling greatly. I try to remember back if I've come across this human-headed beast anywhere in any of the channels I've hidden throughout the years.
You make contact with some sort of alien intelligence. It is too much for your mind. You take 1 point of damage.
I holler out and drop to the ground.
I turn quickly, moving to Killian. What's wrong? What happened? I didn't see anything.
There's some evil presence here. I'm not sure I can go through with this. I start to try to stumble to my feet, struggling.
Listen. We know we've got to give ourselves some time for those stone statues above to clear out. Let's just take a moment, gather yourself. I look over Killian, trying to see if there's any wound. Of course, with my training, I'm looking for stabs and lacerations and contusions. But I give him the once over, looking around, and I motion for Nico to come closer with the torch so I can see a little better.
There seem to be no traces of physical injury. Whatever happened directly in the brain of Killian, but he starts to get this flow of information. He realizes that this mural, this image covering the entire room, details the process of summoning or dispelling this strange entity, this slug-like, perhaps demon, you could say. You need to light an incense stick. Then you need to ring a gong 3 times. And then you need to pour blood on the sacrificial bowl.
As I begin to struggle to my feet again, I slowly look. Do I see these items in front of me? Is everything already here?
The room is completely empty except for the spider webs and the images on the walls, and of course, the southernmost corridor.
My friend, I could be wrong, but something's telling me that this is some type of ritual. These images here. Sven, come here. Take your parchment and jot down as much of this as you can. I try to spend some time and mentally observe it and memorize it as well.
Summoning what, Killian? I walk over to the mural, and with the tip of my blade, I poke it right into the slug-like creature. This thing? This ugly thing over here? Why would anyone want to summon that? I mean, he points at the scenes of debauchery. This I can understand. But that thing? What's that all about?
I just raise my hood to hide my face. Yes, that thing, Esben. That thing.
I fairly carelessly, Esben lets the tip of his sword scratch into the mural, lightly defacing the ugly slug thing. Whoops.
Nothing seems to happen.
Well, Nico, let's check out this hallway.
The moment that Nico approaches the hallway, this passageway is wide enough for two people to walk through it. The ceiling is a bit low, not enough that you need to crouch to enter it, but it's about 12 feet compared to the grand hall behind you, the grand room. It's much shorter. In the middle of that corridor, you can see some twinkling blue lights.
You see that down there? Killian, we got lights ahead. I whisper. There's something else down here.
Sven, Luca, come closer, my friends. I keep a good bit of distance, but begin going down the tunnel as well. I put my hands out from side to side to see exactly how close the walls are to me.
Your senses are suddenly overwhelmed with a revelation. These blue lights are dangerous. They are hostile. You are not exactly sure how to confront them, dispel them, attack them, but you know that they are harmful. That's all that you sense through your psychic talents.
Esben, wait, friend.
Hold on. I reach out, grab the hem of Nico's shirt to stop him in place. Wait.
I can sense whatever this is very dangerous. Perhaps a guardian.
What does it want? Is it just guarding something?
I can't tell.
Maybe some treasure. Boy, I'm so broke. I look again at the lights, and I try to gauge the height of the light from the floor to the lowest light.
The lights seem to be blinking in and out of existence. They move up and down. They seem to be covering the entire corridor.
I follow them with my eyes. Esben's trying to think if I could just slide underneath them. Is there something around? While he does that, he takes another close look at the floor, approaching the where the lights are, and looks around the ceiling and tries to get a gauge for what is it that we're standing in. Is there anything else around here you can look for to try to get around this?
The entire passageway seems pretty normal. It is made of the same bluish gray bricks from before, or stones. But you have noticed that the lights, there is a pattern to them, and one agile or fast enough could perhaps slide under that gap.
Esben turns to Killian. I think I can do it. I think I can slide underneath this.
It just seems dangerous, Esben. I know we're in dire straits, my friend, but
we've come this far. I can't go back empty-handed. I'm on my last floor in. You have a lantern. You have something for light? Let me take this torch, see if I can get to the other side, see what there is. Maybe I can turn these lights off or draw them away.
That is possible. But wait. Luca, come here. How strong is your faith, my friend? We've been through a lot, haven't we? I have faith in you. Do you have faith in me? We need you, my friend. Tap on his shoulder. You can do this.
Your hireling prepares himself to make the risky move. His lights under the lights, and the lights hover towards him. But at the last moment, he manages to dodge just in time, and the lights dissipate on the floor.
I cheer him on. Good show. Good show.
Luca, what is it? Can you tell, brother?
Luca pays close attention to the rest of the area. The corridor leads further up ahead, about 30 feet, into what appears to be a crossroads, but you need to approach that crossroads in order to ascertain the directions, the dimensions, and other details.
I peer closely once again, trying to see Luca, but also seeing if any other of the lights have dissipated or if there's still more hovering around.
It seems that there are no other lights. Luca, for a moment, he felt a bit dizzy, perhaps, of the risky maneuver. It could be something else, but he gathers his senses and he appraises that this cross-section leads towards 3 different directions. When it comes to the right or the east, the tunnel turns into a tunnel that has been dug deep within the earth. There are no more bricks in there in that direction. Just in front of you, there is a corridor in the normal fashion, just like the room before and the corridor before, with bluish gray bricks. It leads south, but you can notice a faint reddish glow coming from that direction. On the east, which would be your left, you notice another corridor, similar to the bricked one, with the bluish gray stones or bricks, but there is no other clue as to where it may lead towards.
Espen and Luca, with Matthias, go up to that crossroads, wait and stop and wait there for Killian and his 2 hirelings to join. While we're waiting for the rest of the party to arrive, Espen makes a show of trying to smell. If there's something, he said red lights. I see a reddish glow, and he's talking to Nico and Matthias about this reddish glow.
I proceed forward. I embrace Luca as I get to the intersection as well. I will remember your courage, my friend. Well done. What do you think, Espen?
I'm torn. This side here just dug. Is it older? I don't know. It could be older, but there's a light down there. I mean, we just got past those other lights. Maybe that's where we're supposed to go. I don't really know. The sneaking around is not like me. He brushes some cobwebs off his clothes. I'm going to have to pay a tailor. I'm going to have to pay a cleaner. Look at this. I say we go towards the red light. We know something's there. This could just be a dead end. Matthias, Nico, let's go. We can't have these men of the cloth outdo us, can we? I clap him on the back, and we head down the brick tunnel towards the red light.
As you start to move closer, as you start to move through that corridor, you can hear some faint chanting, but it doesn't sound normal. It's almost raspy, kind of like Savade, Savado, Savade. And the reddish glow intensifies. It is obviously coming from that room. There is some sort of source of light, of reddish light within that room.
Mm-hmm. I motion for the Nico and Matthias to stop. And then I look back down the hallway towards Killian, and I motion for him to quietly get closer. But I put my finger to my lips that I can hear something.
Just to be cautious, Sven, Luca, you guys stay here and protect this crossroads. I'm going to get down close to the ground, slowly move up, meet with Esben.
I hear some chanting. I whisper. There's something going on. It sounds like one of your holy rites or something. I don't quite recognize it. But it doesn't sound like they know we're here.
The chanting suddenly stops.
Oh,
For a moment, there is nothing. And then this mummified corpse picks around, points at you, and discharges this red blast at you.
Oh.
I quickly fall prone to the ground and start to scurry backwards on the ground.
Espen does a kind of half roll because he was down low. He kind of rolls over his shoulder, trying to get away from the place he was just standing or kneeling. And as he does that, he yells out to Nico and Matthias, "Engage!"
Your quick actions rescues you from damage. But Sven was not so lucky and takes 1 point of damage. Luca also is damaged by the attack. They feel as if they are burning as the bolt strikes them. The creature once again starts to charge some sort of energy at the point of its finger.
Disrupt, it's a caster. Disrupt, it's magic. Espen will swing his sword, or in one smooth motion, draws his sword and tries to hit the wrist of this mummified corpse to part the hand from the wrist. He's going to try to slice that off.
You slice off its hand, but it counter-strikes and deals 1 point of damage to Esben. But it is not able to use its attack, at least for now. It starts to try to grapple with Esben. It uses its other hand to try to choke Esben.
I grab it with my other hand, trying to fight against this one and with my sword in my dominant hand, I try to cut off at the elbow this hand that's grabbing me. So I've got it here, and I'm going to try to just slice down and slice through this mummified corpse. All the while, with the choked out voice saying, "Anytime, Nico, anytime," asking for him to engage in combat. "Anytime now."
I holler out, "To me, brothers," and begin to take a deep breath and rush forward behind Esben.
The other arm is cut off, and this seems to have disrupted the energy animating this strange creature. The mummified corpse falls to its knees, and it seems to be trying to regain its lost power.
Quick, Nico, set the torch to it. Do we have anything flammable? Let's burn this thing.
The moment the torch touches this creature, it starts to burst in flames. Perhaps it has been covered in some sort of embalming fluid, some sort of substance, but it burns immediately. It starts to fall to ash, almost supernaturally so. And then it is done. There is nothing left of the creature. And the reddish glow still comes from that room.
What happened, Esben?
That thing you saw just come out of nowhere, blasted some kind of unholy red energy. I took care of that hand, but then he tried to throttle me. I show him my neck.
Wait, my friend.
There's still that red light.
I'm going to try to concentrate, listen for anything.
The only thing that you sense is great evil coming from that room.
There's still more. There's still more, my friend.
They know we're here. There's nothing to it now. Matthias, Nico, let's bring the hurt down. We the three of us, my two henchmen leading the way, me bravely hiding behind them as we come into the room to survey where the enemies are. My eyes looking for anyone that seems to be leading some kind of whatever's happening here. I'm looking for the leader, the challenge.
Now you have a good view of this room. It is large, not as large as the first room you encountered in this site, but it is perhaps about 40 feet wide and 25 feet deep. There are some thin columns on each corner of this room, and in the western wall, you can see an altar. It is this stone altar that is the source of this reddish glow. The glow seems to come from within it. It seems to be a hollow altar.
As I'm making my way forward, I look down and I take my foot and just kick through the ashes, just seeing if I can tell of any other signs that animated this foul creature.
There seem to be no effects, but the moment you kick the ash, it seems like the reddish glow flickered for a moment, for a second.
I'm just going to take a handful of the ash and throw it into my pouch and proceed forward to Esben.
Esben surveys the room. I don't see anyone I can stab yet, but that doesn't mean they're not here. Matthias, head over to that altar. Maybe we could tip it over or something. I'm not liking that red glow. I follow Matthias and Nico as we head over to the glowing altar. Matthias is my heavy. He's the strong man. He's used to carrying around all my gear. I said, hey, I make a big show of taking my backpack off his back so that he can get more leverage. I don't actually carry it. I just set it down so that Matthias can pick it up after he tries to rip the altar down onto the ground or tip it over. Sweet.
The altar is quite solid, but there is an obvious drawer of sorts. The moment the hireling touches this, almost fascinated by the red glow, it opens and you encounter two objects within it. The source of the red glow, a beating heart, and a small gold key.
Ooh. Espen's eyes linger on the gold key. I call over to Killian. Killian, you better come see this.
I proceed forward, calling out to Luca and Sven. Friends, are you okay? I know those wounds must be grievous, but we have to proceed. I get into the room with Esben and catch gaze of what he's looking at.
There's a beating heart here. What kind of sorcery is this? But that gold key. If someone uses a gold key, there must be gold nearby.
The moment Killian gets closer, he is sure that that heart could reanimate the creature that you have just destroyed.
This is the source of that foul creature's life, my friend. This heart. It's very powerful.
Well, let's see just how powerful. Espen, in a rash move, draws his sword and plunges it into the heart.
The heart also turns to ash the moment you do that. It dissipates, the glow stops, and the only light in the room is the light of the torch.
We've done it. That wasn't so bad. Espen takes a close look at the gold key. And with the tip of his blade, he tries to loop the end of the key on the blade so that he could withdraw it without sticking his hand in the drawer because icky.
You are able to do just that. The key is quite normal.
Nico, hold your hand out for a second. And I drop the key from my blade onto Nico's hand. What do you say? Solid gold or just plated?
Nothing happens. Nico takes a bite, and it seems to be.
Don't put it in your mouth, Nico. What are you?
Gold.
Oh.
We can't take them anywhere, my friend.
Boy, you guys are lucky we're here. And we survey the room. This doesn't seem like there's anything else, any other way out of here. I guess it's time to backtrack. At least it's not glowing.
I take Sven and Luca's hand and just bow my head for a moment and let them do a small prayer before we exit the room.
I put my hand on Nico and Matthias. We'll give them a moment, boys. Let's start making our way out. They need some privacy for this. We make our way back out of this large room towards the junction before. Well, we won't go so far because we have the torch, right? So we need as I realized that after we plunged the room into darkness. Nico, what are you thinking, man? They're praying. Yes, they got their eyes closed, but that doesn't mean they don't need a torch. Get back there. We wait in the dim light as Nico provides some light so you don't stumble around in the darkness.
I quickly catch up to Esben because I'm still uneasy about everything we've experienced.
Esben's putting his backpack back on Matthias where it belongs and getting ready to head down the natural cave, the natural tunnel.
As you approach the natural tunnel, you see that there are some roots, some solid roots sprouting from the walls, the ceiling. It is quite the narrow tunnel. It is about 5 feet wide. And you need to crouch just slightly, not too much, just a bit, to make your way through it. And you suddenly start to smell, it smells like moss and perhaps moist vegetation.
Nico, take point. I'm right behind you. In the narrow confines, I tell Matthias, you better just hold on to the back of my shirt here. It's going to be really dark behind me. Pass it along. Hey, Killian, it'll be dark through here. We just have the one light, and I'm giving it to Nico to go forward to trailblaze for us. Better hold on to one another here. Easy to get disoriented when it gets really dark. Then
you heard him, friends.
We're kind of holding hands in this daisy chain down to just make sure that we don't lose anybody.
This earthen tunnel leads into a large cave, significantly large. It almost looks like a large sphere. If it wasn't for the ground that is somewhat flat, it's probably of 60 feet in diameter. At the center, there is a small pond, probably 20 feet in diameter, but around the pond, there are 4 strange humanoid-looking creatures. They almost resemble like mossmen or plantmen in a way. Humanoids made of some sort of vegetable material. They are standing at each of the cardinal points. One seems to be standing at the north, the other at the east, and so forth. They are looking at the pond, and they seem to be in some sort of trance, rocking back and forth, looking at the pond, apparently looking at the pond because they have no visible eyes or features.
Esben, Luca, and Matthias move off to the edge so that Killian and the other two can join in and survey this. I approach Killian and whisper to him, perhaps they're just in some kind of trance. They don't seem to have eyes. Perhaps they won't, if we just leave them be. Maybe we don't have to fight these.
My jaw drops. I'm in complete awe, Esben. I've never seen such creatures.
They kind of remind me a little bit of palace guards. They're moss covered and they have no eyes. I Espen takes a couple steps towards the pond. As he does so, he sheathes his sword and approaches with his hands open, trying to look non-threatening as he steps closer with his ear kind of cocked a little to the side to try to hear if they're making any sound as they stare into this pond from the cardinal points.
The moment you do that, all four of them turn around and look at you because it is quite difficult to tell if they actually have some sort of way to perceive their environment through sight. And they just stand there. They are no longer in that certain trance that they were in. They are no longer rocking back and forth, and they are just facing you.
When I see they face towards me, I do a deep bow. I bow in front of them, and then I make a big show of it. I mention as I'm bowing low, I kind of whisper to the others, "We're going to try to talk our way out of this one." And then I come back up and say, "My deepest condolences for interrupting your watering session. We're here traveling, looking for information. Perhaps you could help us," I say in English to the plants. "Do you think this is going to work?" I keep my hands open and non-threatening.
The musk creatures suddenly start to vibrate a little. It seems as if they are trying to create something. And suddenly some sort of mouth springs from one of them. It appears, it manifests on the lower area of its face. And it speaks in a very strange way. "Up ahead, tunnel."
I whisper to Killian, "Did you catch that?"
You're doing good. Just keep going. Keep going, my friend.
It'd be better if they had braids. I know what to do when they have braids. Thank you for speaking with us, O Great One. We seek more knowledge," Espen says, as he again makes a show of bowing and genuflecting towards them just to try to keep them peaceable.
The creature once more starts to try to articulate, and it communicates, "Beyond tunnel, danger."
I caught that one. Killian, did you catch that? I think I caught that. He's warning of danger. Beyond the tunnel. I look around beyond the pond, looking to see if there's some other tunnel here.
There is a single tunnel in the southernmost part of this cavern. It leads somewhere, but it is dark and you will need to move through it if you want to obtain more information.
I point towards that dark tunnel and I repeat the words, "Danger." And I point towards it, "Danger."
The creature once again tries to communicate. Ground, not safe, not safe.
He's telling us the ground's not safe. It's going to be a problem. None of us have wings.
I unhood myself and walk up beside Espen, just holding my hands up.
As Killian approaches, I reach over my arm and say, "This is my companion. He's wise, much smarter than me. Perhaps we could trade information. We just came across some horrible things. They were awful and red glow and awful. But he's much, much smarter than I am. Perhaps you could tell us about this danger on the floor." And then I, being careful not to step behind Killian and keeping facing so they can see that I'm not turning my back to the moss creatures, I'll move closer towards the cave opening or the tunnel opening.
Killian suddenly starts to obtain this flow of telepathic information from the creatures. They are very simple-minded, but one thing is certain. They are connected to nature and to the earth, but the evil energy within this zone prohibits them from obtaining more details about their environment. They are almost like blind men walking. But Killian obtains the exact patterns to move in the room. It's a sort of cave beyond the tunnel. These mossmen have been there, and they have ascertained the safe areas that you can move through in order to avoid falling into certain death. The floor could collapse if you step in the wrong areas.
I take a moment to reflect on all the information that I've acquired and look at Esben. We have to be incredibly careful.
You got something?
Yes, my friend, the floor, it could just crumble and kill us. I know how to get past it, but there's only one way and we can't make any mistakes.
Well, next time we come across Mossmen, you're leading. I got 3 words. You got a whole pattern? Excellent. What can we do to thank these? What do they want? Oh, I know. I motioned for Matthias to come here. Matthias, get over here. I rummage in the backpack a little bit and I pull out a wineskin. I slosh it around a little bit. There's just a tiny bit left. I hold it in my hands and approach the. You're never too old to start drink or too young to start drinking. I bring the wineskin in my hands and lay it on the ground in front of the moss creatures. A gift for the information. Espen then backs up, rejoins Killian.
One of the moss creatures approaches the gift. It takes it in its mossy hand, and they all start to look at each other. It seems as if they are having some sort of telepathic communication, some sort of conversation. And then they face at you once more. And they point, the 4 of them point at the pond, and they say, "Key, key."
Nico, get over here. I need that key. They just said key. I nod again. Thank you. Killian, did you hear that? They just said key. Did you get that in your telepathic stuff?
I've been so taken back by these marvelous creatures. I've been completely blinded to the pool itself. I want to walk to its edge and kneel down and look down into the pond.
Remember when we came in, they were all staring in this pond. Maybe it's something important, but they've been helpful so far. I say we use the key. Oh, it's solid gold. Oh, all right. What do you say? We just toss it in?
What can you see? What can you see the bottom of the pond?
I lean over a little bit into the pond, but as I do that, I want to just turn my head a little bit to watch what the moss men are doing. Are they watching us? And that's what I'm looking at. I want to see how they react when I'm holding the key in my hand.
The mossmen seem to be unaffected or unaltered by your emotions. They are just standing there facing you. But at the bottom of the pond, you catch the glimpse of something silvery at the very bottom.
Ooh. This might be a bad idea, Killian. I pull off one of my gloves and I test the water with my hand, just carefully, and cup it in my hand to see. Then is it fresh water?
The water is a bit cold, but it seems to be clean.
Do you think they'd mind if I took a quick dip?
No, I think they're welcoming you to Espen.
Nico, time for a swim. I asked Nico, the water is a little cool. It's bracing. I look over at the torch that he's holding, trying to gauge how much time we have left on this. I take the torch from Nico and say, look, there's something, these moss men here have told us that the key goes into that shiny thing on the bottom. I need you to swim down there, stick the key in, see if it fits, and see if you can get whatever it is out. We're counting on you. We're counting on you. Okay? You got this? You got this. I pat him on the back as he takes his tunic off, kicks off his boots, and gets ready to jump into the pool.
Your hireling jumps into the pool. The moment he reaches the bottom, he seems a bit confused or puzzled. He seems to be reaching out towards something, and he emerges holding a silver key in his other hand.
Oh, Nico, fantastic job. We got some gold. We didn't even have to give up the gold. Ah, great. I get it now. I turn to the Mossman. I get it. Another key. Got it. Thank you. Keeping an eye on that torch to see where it's at. I wait until Nico gets his clothes back on. Say, fantastic job, Nico. Clap him on the back. And then I hand him back the torch because I don't carry things. And then move towards the tunnel.
I take a moment to wash my face with the cool water. I didn't give on as much as it bothered me, but the interaction with the mural has still had me pretty rattled, trying to calm myself mentally before we proceed.
I see Killian approach with his face washed. Are you doing okay? Think of what we've done so far. It's amazing. Think of the stories we'll be able to tell. There's not a single maiden in all of Jarlsberg that's going to not want to hang on every word that we tell. Think about it.
You do have a good point.
You suddenly realize that you have about 40 minutes left of your torch, and some roots inside that tunnel seem suspiciously similar to a wooden torch.
Sven, Luca, get as many roots as you can, friends. Gather them as we start to check the next tunnel.
As they move off to do that, Espen just says, look, but, don't let the moss men see you breaking off branches just in case they might take offense. Maybe do it in the shade or something.
It's a good call. Guys, if you would, just kind of go around the corner and do that.
The moment you do that, you are able to obtain 3 usable pieces of these roots, and the mossmen seem to be back in their trance, looking at the center of the pool.
Before we leave here, Killian, do you think they like that gift, or can I maybe get that wineskin back?
I'm pretty sure they won't notice if it's missing at this point. They seem pretty fixated on the pool.
Matthias, go grab the wineskin. They're not going to drink it. They only had mouths about 2 minutes ago.
They are too deep within the trance, so it is successfully recovered.
Killian, you saw the pattern. Can you describe it to me, or I don't want to risk having you go first. That's what we do. As I mentioned to Matthias and Nico, listen carefully. Killian's going to give you the pattern.
All right. I begin thinking and trying to remember the exact pattern, and at the same time gauge if it's something I could communicate or if it's something that would be better if I led the way.
You can easily point out the safe areas or the same places to move through. As you move through this tunnel, you reach a large room. This was also part of your vision. This room is almost the same size of the room before, where the mossmen were carrying out their rituals or their communications. You are easily able to move across the entire zone without suffering some sort of injury or death. You are now in front of another tunnel that snakes towards the south. This is a narrow tunnel again. You need to move one person at a time through it, crouching a bit.
It's getting claustrophobic. I'm not so keen on these tight spaces. Before we step into this tunnel, let's take a look at these the floor here to see if the pattern continues or if it's different.
Yes, good call, my friend. I've seen this room before in visions.
Like the visions from that nasty mural with the slug guy, the old man slug.
It's hard to describe, Espen, but I just got a flood of information, and this was within it. Dark visions, indeed.
After you make your way through this dangerous cavern, there is no longer danger, according to the telepathic communication. There is just this snaking tunnel. It also appears to be safe, but you did not see what was ahead, according to the visions provided by the Moss Men.
It feels safe here, Espen, but I can't guarantee what's ahead. This is as far as I saw, my friend. Lucas, Finn, keep close.
Well, I guess that means you're just like the rest of us now. Nico, let's go, but cautiously, slowly. Okay, slowly. We'll take it slow. As we crouch on lower, I'm crouching. I'll keep my sword hand free and ready to draw my sword if I need to. As we cautiously make our way through.
You move safely through the tunnel, and you reach another large cavern. This is a bit smaller than the previous one, probably about 40 feet in diameter. The ceiling is also like that, almost a sphere. The ground is considerably flat. On the northeast corner of this cave, there is another tunnel, but what catches your attention is what lies in the southeast corner. There is a circle of glyphs or runes, and within that circle, that is fairly small, just about 10 feet in diameter, there is a humanoid. You are certain it is a dark elf. The creature notices you, looks at your direction, and smiles.
I smile back.
The elf waves and tries to speak in common. He actually has a good dominion over the language. Come over here, friends.
Espen whispers, shouldn't trust these. But then to the elf, he says, yes, hello. And he takes a couple steps towards the elf, but keeps his sword hand conveniently kind of resting on his belt as he, so not touching the sword. I don't want to give the elf the wrong idea, but keeping that hand close by, he takes a couple steps forward, just kind of with it motioning for the rest of his, of Nico and Matthias to be ready. Be ready.
I'm going to follow Esben somewhat, but with a wider berth, just like we're in awe of the room and trying to check it out with Finn and Mark, just in case.
The elf continues. I am in a bit of a predicament. Some horrible spirits got me trapped into this magical circle. So if you would be so kind to release me, I could tell you where I saw treasure.
Ooh. What kind of treasure, my good friend?
Gold, armor, weapons.
Not your treasure. This is other treasure you know about?
Well, I think I can trace my way back to that room. He seems to be having trouble communicating because of the language. But I am certain I can lead you towards great riches.
I'll take another step closer to him, but I'm paying close attention as I take a step towards him of what kind of clothing he's wearing. and whether or not he has a weapon on his belt or a dagger, the bulge of a dagger peeking through his blouse.
He has a short sword and a crossbow, and he seems to be wearing some sort of leather, the sort of attire that you would expect from an adventurer or perhaps an assassin.
Friend, you're here all by yourself.
Yes, I am an adventurer extraordinaire, as you call it in your language. I went on ahead. Some friends of mine didn't want to venture into this place, so the more riches for me, right? But like I said, I ran into these horrible spirits and they chased me into this room. I decided to jump into this magical circle to shield myself from them, but now I am stuck. There is some sort of barrier. I cannot move past it.
You don't say. Killian,
Yes.
do you see a barrier down here? Where's the barrier?
I walk with Luca and Sven getting closer to Espen, looking over the elf, and at the same time whispering them just to begin to chant a blessed prayer.
You start to sense that this barrier indeed encases anyone within the circle, but it can be disrupted. But you need to apply some sort of supernatural power for it.
Friend, I, as a fellow adventurer and a man of the blade myself, I'm inclined to let you go. But what assurance can we have that you'll treat us, you won't harm us for our kindness, that you'll treat us well?
I cannot think of a guarantee. Perhaps just keep me in front. I will be your point man. Except beyond the areas that I haven't explored.
Kind of whisper over to Killian. Seems reasonable to me. Plus, he knows where the treasure is.
I try to look in the man's eyes and ask, exactly where are your pursuers now? Did they just wander off when you got in this protection circle, or are there still dangers amongst us? If so, we should probably take care of that first.
They are probably somewhere in the east down that tunnel. They went back through it, and be careful. They are not affected by, well, they were not affected by my short sword or my crossbow bolts.
Espen walks up, so he's very close to this elf creature. I don't know that I've ever met someone like you. Whereabouts are you from?
I come from the deep tunnels, far up the north, beyond the Marsk Mountains.
Espen takes a moment to try to remember all the fairy tales that his grandmama used to tell him about the fairies and the elves. And he's trying to rack his brain. Were they tricksters? Were they like Loki? Or are they someone that a good, Odin-fearing man like myself would be wise to be cautious of? That's what I'm trying to remember.
All of the fairy tales that you remember, they are not good. In the case of dark elves, they are treacherous, deadly, evil, conniving. In perhaps one or two tales, they are allies of convenience, but they always usually end up backstabbing their allies. Even orcs are more trustworthy than the dark elves.
Friend, I can see your predicament. We have a bit of a quandary ourselves. We would like to break this enchantment, but none of us are really so arcane. The magic's, that's beyond me. I'm a simple man like yourself. I like a sword. I think we'll have to keep searching to help you. And then I'll just quietly, surreptitiously try to nod to Killian. It's not good.
The elf breaks somewhat into a panic. No, wait, come back. Surely there is something you can attempt. Surely something.
We'll be back this way, I'm sure. If there's no other exit, it's just to get home, at least. Don't worry, we'll be back, I say. And Esben kind of motions for Nico and Matthias to back away from the dark elf and get closer to the ongoing tunnel.
I have one question for you, friend. Did you happen to see a mural on the way in on your journey?
The elf takes a moment. Oh yeah, the spider web covered place. Yeah, I saw it. What about it?
Do you know anything about it, perchance?
Oh, I didn't pay too much attention to it. I saw that there was something behind the spider webs, but I paid no attention to it. I've seen so many of those back home.
I see. Well, we'll return, friend. Sven, Luca, let's go.
Don't take too long.
Oh, how long have you been there?
For about a day.
Oh, then what's another hour? We'll be back. No worries. Nico takes point. Matthias after him. I follow along, and as we leave this room, glancing behind myself to make sure that Killian's and his crew are following behind.
Yes, we fall in directly behind Esben. That was probably a good call. We need to stay away from him.
I agree. I just keep remembering what Grandma used to say about the dark elves. Those were scary stories. It's borderline child abuse to be telling those stories. I don't think we need to be dealing with him. As we push deeper into the tunnel and away.
You move through the tunnel and you reach a fork. One tunnel goes north, the other one goes southeast.
Killian, are you getting any feelings now? You've had a few impressions. What's in that head of yours? That mysterious head? What do you think?
I glance to the tunnel to the north.
You catch the impression of deceit, trickery.
Curiously, the north makes me wonder if that's where our friend was originally from that's now imprisoned.
Southeast it is. Nico, you heard him. Let's go.
I'm behind Esben, along with Sven and Luca.
You continue going through this tunnel. It keeps going for perhaps 10 minutes, and you finally reach a door. At the end of the tunnel, there is a huge stone door, and it has two locks, a golden lock and a silver lock.
Whoa. Nico, hand me those keys. Yeah, both of them. Before I take the keys in my hand, I just compare the filigree on the gold and the silver to the lock set in the door to see if it's the same artisan that has done both. As I'm doing that, I'm motioning for Killian. Killian, come here. We found something. It looks like these keys are to this door. Matthias, take a look around the bottom of the door. Just check and see if you can see underneath it. Is there anything beyond?
You cannot perceive anything else from this door. You cannot see under it. The locks are quite normal. They seem to be a perfect match for your keys. But Killian starts to get this horrifying impression it is undoubtedly the same energy from the mural in the first room.
I'm going to bow my head somewhat and just put my hand against the door and concentrate.
Once again, you obtain a powerful psychic impression, but it deals 1 point of damage to your character. But you are certain the entity that you saw in the mural is behind that door, but it seems to be dormant.
All right. I fling backwards,
I
grunting.
Try to catch you before you.
The mural. That entity's within the room, Espen.
That ugly slug creature? Old man slug?
The power of that creature is immense. It seems to be lying in wait, dormant, perhaps.
Dormant? You mean sleeping?
If we open this door, I think it's a gamble. We've come this far.
Nico,
Let's rest for a moment.
let's take a moment.
Kneel.
Yeah, take your time. Take your time. We're not in a rush here. The dark elf guy, would keep him waiting. We're going to just keep him on red for a long time. I keep pocket the 2 keys in my pocket. And so you know what? Maybe it's time for us to just break for a moment. I motion for Matthias to come out so I can fetch some of the rations and take another look at that torch. I just want to make sure that we don't lose that. So I'll divide up some of the rations and can take a moment to catch our breath. Keep an eye on Killian to make sure that he seems a little shaken. I hope you're okay. Yeah. Put my hand on his knee as he's sitting down. You all right?
I'll make it, my friend.
Just remember, the next time we're in a tavern, no one's going to have a story to beat this. No one. I'm telling you, this is gold.
You're twisting my arm here, Espen. This better pay off.
I point to Sven. Do you have faith, Sven? Come on, Sven. You must have faith.
You rest successfully for 8 hours. You recover 1 life point for each of your injuries. You also spend 1 of your 7 days of rations each. The night was somewhat restless. You did manage to recover, but especially Killian obtained these visions of death, degeneracy, pain, suffering, and for a moment you actually felt as if some sort of strange spirits were approaching your campsite. But the presence on the other side of the door is so powerful that they were unable to do so. But you also sense that this creature, as time passes, it becomes more powerful. And so you wake up.
First thing we're going to need to do is take one of those branches that you guys so kindly collected, and we'll fashion a torch out of it using a tinderbox to get some light.
I'll do the same with one of the branches, begin cutting and lighting one into a torch. Esben, whatever lies beyond this door is growing stronger by the moment.
There's not a moment to waste then.
We have to proceed if we're going through
this. I conference huddle with my 2 hirelings. All right. Speed is of the essence. We're going to open this door. We're going to rush whatever ugly slug old man thing is beyond this before it can mess with my friend Killian. And we're going to make sure that it doesn't wake up. We're going to give him the long nap. You understand? We're going to go in quick, right? All right. I take the 2 keys out of my pocket, insert them, gold in the gold lock, silver in the silver lock. I look behind my back before turning both at the same time and moving the door in.
The moment you insert the keys, They turn to lead, both of them.
Oh, man. There better be something behind. Under my breath, I mutter, there better be more gold in here. So help me. And push the door in.
The door opens and reveals a huge octagonal room. It is quite big, of similar dimensions to the first room that you arrived at. There is an altar in the northernmost area, and upon that altar there is a gong, a small hammer, an incense stick, and a bowl with a dagger. But at the center of the room, there is a huge statue, probably the size of an ogre, of a golden slug with an old man's head. It seems to be immobile, but immediately Killian senses that there is something within that statue, something trying to break free.
Espen, this isn't good, my friend. He's trying to awaken. I can feel it. That statue, it's him.
Esmond just stands there, his mouth wide open, staring at that huge golden statue. He's trying to do complicated math about how many florins that gold is. He's standing there staring, mesmerized by the golden statue.
You also notice that on the southeast part of this room, there is another door similar to the one that you just opened. But suddenly, the door closes behind you completely, and some invisible force pulls if there were hirelings outside, they are pulled into the room, and it locks completely. And the statue begins to vibrate.
Espen, I'm not sure the story is going to be worth it.
Espen turns. Matthias, try to get that door open. And then as Matthias does that, he turns to Nico. Nico, that other door, get to it.
The doors cannot be opened. And suddenly this statue starts to vibrate so violently that pieces of gold start to fall off it. Just tiny bits, and you can see that there is flesh underneath. The flesh of a slug.
Why can't gold be gold for once? Espen turns to Killian. There was some ritual. Something about a gong, you were saying. Ring it 3 times.
Buy me some time, friend. Buy me some time. I'm running towards the insurance. The incense.
Okay. Espen takes a quick look around. I'm looking for a brazier or something larger than his sword that he could grab and run like a javelin or like a spear lancing into this creature as it shakes off its sides.
There is no such thing. No such thing in the room. And the creature bursts free. It is now moving, fully organic, and faces Esben. The movement from Esben has caught its attention, and it rushes at Esben with a roar.
Be quick about it, Esben yells to Killian as he tries to roll away, dancing away from this creature that's coming towards him. I'll try to hold its attention, but do what you got to do and do it quick.
Stay fleet, my friend. I began to lower the torch into the incense.
The creature, with its huge body, it actually manages to slap Esben. It felt like you were hit by a wagon, by a chariot or cart of some sorts, and you take 3 points of damage.
Esben staggers back, winded, barely able to talk. He yells, Nico, it's on me. Get it off. Get it off. Matthias. Calling for my hirelings to try to pull its attention off me as I try desperately to count the number of broken ribs that I have. Oh, I can barely breathe. Quick, Killian. Oh, I can't take another one of those.
I desperately try to get the incense lit.
The incense is now lit, and the creature turns back at you. It faces you with a roar and starts to move quickly towards Killian.
seeing that Esben, this is a slug creature. So as Esben moves, he sees it's behind. He's going to use his acrobatic ability to try to run up the back of this thing and slice at its head with his sword. In one desperate attempt. I got you.
The creature is distracted by your cut, but it makes no damage whatsoever. Perhaps a small cut that it automatically regenerates, but the creature seems completely, once again, focused on Killian. It is continuing its way towards him.
I dive towards the hammer and then look across to see about how far I am from the gong. And then look at the creature, trying to judge how close this call is going to be.
You can ring it right now. You can smash the gong.
Okay, I will begin hitting it. One after another, and then another.
The creature starts to contort, to writhe in pain. It cannot move. It is roaring. Its old man's head starts to make these horrible gestures, and it becomes almost disfigured. It starts to blink in and out from an old man's face to a slug-like head.
I drop the hammer and look into the eyes of this creature. As many times as we've crossed paths, I want to just focus one last time to see what this creature sees.
You can sense that the creature is terrified of you, pouring blood on the basin, but you take 2 points of damage from that contact.
I fall to one knee as I reach down and pull my dagger from my boot. Slice my hand open, showing it to the creature. And squeezing my hand over the bowl.
The creature starts to contort so violently, and the entire place starts to fall apart. Pieces of the ceiling, the walls around you, and the base at the center. You now realize that it is the same type of base that you saw in the northeast part outside of Jarlsberg. It is the same structure. And suddenly, red lightning starts to shoot out of the base. It starts to hit everyone in the room. Everything goes dark. You suddenly awaken. You are outside. You are in the same site, the same area that is just outside of Jarlsberg, the same base.
Esben!
Oh, everything hurts.
You are interrupted. Suddenly you hear, over there they are, look, let's go. And you see a group of guards approaching you. And you see who is probably the captain of the guard. Yes, you recognize him. It is Oscar. You haven't talked to him personally, but you have seen him around. He motions his men to help you up. You and your hirelings are all safe. They pick you up. They dust you off. And the captain of the guard looks at you seriously and he says, I need both of you to come with me.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Water. Water, please.
You have some bandages or something? Oh, man, everything hurts.
I look for Lucas, Finn, Matthias. Is everyone all right? Did everyone make it out?
Everyone seems to be safe.
Oh, Nico, great job. I'll follow Oscar, but as I'm following, I turn to Killian. What happened? I thought we were dead for sure. How did we get here?
I don't quite know. The structure itself seems to want to shine brightly upon us, my friend. I look down at my hand. Is it still bleeding? Such a strange wound.
Oh, well, I'm not sure how much more shining brightly down upon us this old body can take. Hopefully, whatever the captain has for us has got nice braids, maybe some gold.
I put my bloody hand on Esmond's shoulder.
Oh,
Friend,
man,
just remember your story.
they're never gonna believe us. They're never gonna believe. We gotta be. And as I follow the guard,
You are escorted. The guards are very helpful. They are suspiciously kind to you, to be perfectly frank. They lead you towards the castle. They lead you into the city, and you approach the castle. You enter it. You are carefully tended to. You are given water. You are provided with bandages, and you are taken to a very elegant room. You have never been inside of the castle, and you are placed in some couches. And then Counselor Heinrich walks in. He's an old man, probably in his 50s. He's bald except for a bit of hair above each ear, white hair, whitish. He looks at you and says, "So you are the two leaders of this group?"
Yes. Me
Yes,
and
sir.
Esmond here.
Esteemed Counselor Henrik, yes, sir. And bow deeply, the flourish.
Follow suit.
Imagine my surprise. A couple of hunters were moving just outside of town, the typical mysterious sight. And they saw flashing images of you. They said, fighting a giant slug. And then they said that you materialized out of nowhere. Could you please help me understand what this is all about?
It sounds fantastical, I admit. But I assure you, what we did in fact encounter was something very much like a slug, but with the head of an old man, some ancient evil. All I know is that it nearly laid me low with one massive blow. And when I tried my sword on it, it was ineffective. Thankfully, my friend here, Killian knew the key to defeat the evil thing. It's no far. I know it sounds ridiculous. I know personally it sounds ridiculous, but I assure you, all of us, if you ask, will have the exact same account. And look at us. We've been through a lot.
The counselor suddenly steps out of the room, motions for some people to come in, and a couple of guards with what are apparently the two hunters that saw you, they look at you, they nod, they exit the room, and the counselor looks at you and says, "Throughout the years, I have seen some very strange things. So I will give you the benefit of the doubt, especially because there are witnesses, the hunters. Would you be interested in a special job to serve Duke Cressel?"
Killian, I see Killian's thinking about saying something. Is this employment that is being offered?
Yes.
Perhaps for fair compensation? Of course, we are patriots ourselves, but we do have hirelings and expenses, and I'm sure the Duke in his generosity will offer us good terms that we, of course, as patriots would be happy to accept.
Let me put it this way. If you are successful in this endeavor, you may end up being landowners.
I have to motion for Nico to calm down. Nico, I've got this. We're more than happy. Well, let me, if I may, just without giving any offense, I would like to just speak with my companion here, Killian.
Go ahead.
Sounds good. What do you think, Killian? This is the break we've been looking for.
I'm trying not to look too excited at the moment.
Think of what we could do.
I take a moment and look at the counselor. I try to lock eyes with him and see if I can really see his intention in this moment, especially after the evil we just encountered.
As you attempt this, you realize that you need to spend greater power.
I see Killian doing his weird staring thing again. As he gives that 1,000-yard stare at the counselor, I lay on my charm as thick as I can. Your terms are more than gracious. We're happy to serve the Duke in whatever capacity that we, his humble servants, can do. And of course, our loyal employees, our loyal friends will join us, I'm sure. Right, Nico? Yes, Nico, yes. We will. We'll be more than happy to accept your gracious terms. Thank you. So I'm being as obsequious as I can, laying on my charm as much as I can.
Killian loses his psychic power for the day, and he starts to obtain this sensation of crucial mission. Probably won't make it back alive. The reward is honest. If they return, they will be rewarded, but it is unlikely.
Yes. I reach out my hand to the counselor. I'd be glad to take this on with one condition. Esben and our crew would be at our sides.
The counselor smiles and says, yes, let me be frank with you. This mission is a matter of the utmost importance for the city. As you may be aware of, we are in certain tensions with Kainsmoor. A few years back, they actually assaulted this city. And between us and Kainsmoor, therein lies Brickshire. It is crucial for us to obtain the alliance of Brickshire. It will be us and Brickshire against Kainsmoor. But in order to do that, we need to obtain the Duke's seal. Duke Uther, ruler of Brickshire. I will hand out this note to you. Do not open it. It has the royal seal of Duke Kressel. Take it to Duke Uther in Brickshire. But there are also some other matters. I need you to look for Lothian. He is an old friend, wise in the ways of sorcery and warfare. He is vital in order for us to win this war. Because war is coming. Trust me on that. I know Kainsmoor, and they will try everything to become the ruling power. But also, I need you to go into Brickshire and help whoever you can, and make sure that they know that you come on behalf of our fair city of Jarlsberg. Are you able to do that? Are you able to accomplish this?
With a flashy smile, we can certainly bring the charm of Jarlsberg to Brickshire.
I agree. We just need some rest first, and we'll depart as soon as possible.
The counselor almost interrupts you. No, you need to depart right now. You can rest on the way. There is a barge being prepared for you right now. You will only be taken to the best stores in town to acquire the gear necessary. Come, Jeffrey. And a man approaches the counselor and brings 2 bags. He gives each one of these small bags to each one of you. There are 200 florins inside of each pouch. You can use it for your expenses.
I look over at Killian.
This is more than we could have asked for, friend.
This is more gold than I've ever seen in my entire life. We're ready to go right now. Yes, boarding at gate 8. We can go right now. We're more than happy to. Please, Jeffrey, it is. Yes, lead the way. We'll be right on. Yep. Nico, quit drooling on the gold. Let's go.
Spin, Marco.
The council waves at you and mentions, "Good luck, friends. May Warden be at your side." And so you leave on your grand adventure. And this concludes this session. I think you did an excellent job. Perfect roleplay, in my opinion. Sure, there are some perfectionists out there, but I am incredibly amazed. I think that you are better than my group, actually. So the group in the physical table. So I am truly impressed. Yeah,
So-
again, no, I don't think they won't be
Well,
watching this.
Thank you, Abraham. You're really good at this. I've learned it
Yes.
lots from my own game. But a couple questions for you, if we can come out of character now. What kind of tone, or just so I can match my tone to the tone? It seems like this is more of a serious tone. Then, so like, what? I guess the question I'd have is where do you see kind of the humor versus, gritty, grim, dark style? Where do you see it going? What kind of tone did you want?
It's going to get grim. This is just like the prelude. This is the lighthearted. This is
Okay.
the adventure that comes in the Quick and Classic core rulebook.
Oh, wow.
So it is separate from the main campaign, but once I think that's perfect for the contrast. Once you
Mhm.
make your way from Jarlsberg to Brickshire,
Mhm.
then things are going to get really, really serious.
So this wasn't serious.
Just to put it into perspective, the movie Gladiator, you remember how they at first they painted this brilliant picture of Rome, but you had this barbarian side and the
Mhm.
gladiators and all of that. It's like that contrast when the main character gets tricked that he was like, "Oh, Rome is the light, Rome is the beauty of the world," and Brickshire is the other, the darker
okay.
half.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, and Josh, it was a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah,
It
man.
was great. I think that was fun. It was we had a lot of fun.
And I'm
That's
actually
great.
impressed. I told you, my other group finished this under 3 hours, but you finished it in less than a pretty amazing performance, to be honest. But
Mhm.
you also missed a lot of the other stuff in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I got that impression.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but if you wanted to speed run the adventure, you did it completely.
Yeah, you could see we seem to run past danger rather than engage in it. But
For those of you that
Okay.
are watching at home, Esben actually almost died. He only
Mhm.
has 4 life points, and that
Mhm.
attack from the slug creature, he was like 1 point away from.
Yep. I was a goner. I thought for sure I was a goner. But yeah, that was really fun. Well, thank you very much for the invite. That was great.
Thank
We
you
had
for
a lot of
accepting to
fun.
play.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a blast. I haven't played in forever, and I appreciate it. Such a great time. I look
Yeah.
forward to more adventures, hopefully.
Yes, absolutely.
Hopefully we'll be able to complete the campaign. Like I said, if something comes along, some emergency, or I can no longer play or whatever, it's fine. We are going to enjoy the moment, but it will be impressive if we manage to complete this campaign. My current group has been playing for 6 months, but like I said, I am impressed with your speedrunning capacity. So maybe you will be able to identify all of the correct routes during the campaign. Who knows? So yes, well, with this, I am going to stop the recording. We are still going to be connected here, but for those of you watching at home, thank you for watching this session. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you have tips or advice on how to improve things, we cannot promise that we will apply them. I have technical limitations as well, but when it comes to roleplay, you could say something like, "Oh, maybe you could do this or that." We will think about that, consider play it to our own style. So once again, you have Josh playing as Killian, Crispy playing as Esben. Thank you so much. And the recording stops right now. Oh, remember, it is better it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. And remember, if you want to support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. Once again, thank you and we'll see you next Monday if Odin wills it.